Hello, my name is Casie Schornick. I'm with C21 Wildwood Properties. I'm downtown Sonora today to gather information in regard to tiny homes. I recently posted a video on my business page featuring a wonderful small home in Columbia, California. Many folks commented on my video asking about permitting and the allowable nature of tiny homes within Tuolumne County. So I went right to the resource at Community Resources Agency located next to the courthouse at 48 West Yaney Street. As you can see, this is a major resource for all kinds of subjects in regard to property. The information I got while here was extremely helpful. The folks here are very willing to spend time answering your questions. The first thing that's important, according to the building department, is determining what a tiny home is. People often misconstrue the term and it's thrown around, but really it is by definition something that is movable and does not have a foundation. The term tiny home literally means that it's pre-constructed and on wheels and can be brought on and off of property or moved around a property, such as this one. Due to confusion about which building code standards apply to tiny homes, they are often mischaracterized for purposes of enforcement. In order to be occupied, a tiny home must comply with the standards of and be approved as one of the following types of structures: a HUD code manufactured home, California Residential Code or California Building Code home, factory built housing, recreational vehicle, park trailer, or camping cabin. The approving agency will vary depending on whether the tiny home is located inside or outside of a mobile home park or special occupancy park. Tiny homes, like all residential structures not classified as a mobile home, RV, camping cabin, etc., are required to comply with California Building Standards Code, also known as Title 24, which can be accessed and read more in depth at www.bsc.ca.gov. CRC Chapter 2 defines a dwelling as any building that contains one or two dwelling units that's intended or designed to be built, used, rented, leased, let out, or hired to be occupied, or that is occupied for living purposes. It also defines a dwelling unit as a single unit providing complete independent living facilities for one or more persons, including permanent provisions for living, sleeping, eating, cooking, and sanitation. A tiny home that is site constructed or mobile and does not fit the definition of the mobile home, RV, camping cabin, etc., is a dwelling unit and must comply with the California Building Standards Code in order to be legally occupied. This particular dwelling appears to have a foundation and may or may not comply with California Building Standards Code. Enforcement of construction and maintenance of these kinds of housing units are performed by our local building department in Tuolumne County, but they are set by the California Building Standards Code. There is a document you can pick up from the county. It is about tiny homes, and it does characterize and define what factory built housing is, what manufactured homes are, what camping cabins are, etc., so that you can get further definition of what is allowable within the code. The small home in Columbia that I posted on my page was in compliance with California Building Standard Codes and is considered a small home, not a tiny home by definition. If you are interested in building a small home, you definitely can, as long as it's within the California Building Standards Code. To get more information about the minimum square footage standards within the code, you can hop on to www.bsc.ca.gov. In conclusion, I have discovered that the term tiny home doesn't always mean what we think it means. Typically, it's going to mean a movable unit, something you can pick up and move from property to property or from different areas within your own property. All units that are occupied in the state of California have to meet the standards building code for the state of California. It actually has nothing to do with the county itself. Enforcement of construction and maintenance of these housing units, of any housing unit, to these codes is performed by the local building department within Tuolumne County. So they're the ones who make sure that this is all happens the way that it's supposed to. But it's enforced by them. The rules are set by the state of California. If you're considering a tiny home and it's something that you think that you might want to explore, I highly recommend reaching out to a realtor that you know and trust. Not only have realtors built a rapport with the building department in Tuolumne County, but we are able to point you in the correct direction to make sure you're getting your hands on the information that you need. Zoning and a lot of other items go into the decision to purchase a piece of land and decide whether or not you're going to build upon it. So make sure that your realtor is pointing you in the correct direction so that you feel like you have all of the information you need to make a decision that's comfortable for you.